is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dove. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Up, JJ Wang. We are recording this. This will be our last recording before August. Rookies are in camp. So far, the biggest injury we have is Kyle Shanahan, coach of the 49ers, in a wreck. It looks like he might not be 100% full participant for the August practices. Is that going to affect your 49ers?
Not really. So is it? I mean, how bad was it? I mean, I just heard he had some serious injuries. I didn't ever saw how bad it
It
was.
sounds like it was worse than they're letting on, but the car actually, it says he's limited in camp. So I don't know exactly what it says. Suffered significant injuries in a car crash. That's more than we think, and they just kept it a little quiet here. They kept it quiet but loud. Broke his nose, 3 ribs, his hand, 40 stitches to his face, severe concussion, and that was on July the 14th. And that just came out 2 days ago. I got this article here from June.
Yeah, sir. I mean, he might be limited in camp. It sounds like, but I don't think it's really going to affect him too much. I can't imagine him listening to doctors' recommendations and being out of the office. So he's probably still going to be in the office. He just probably won't be down on the field, let's say, as much. But yeah, I don't think it really matters. But that sucks. I heard, but I like Kyle Shanahan.
I know that's your boy, man. I mean, he's getting there. Have you ever been in a car crash?
Yeah, when I was younger, I got in one. Nothing like serious or a couple of fender benders, but I ran a stop sign one time when I was in high school. Got T-boned. Had like 6 people in the car.
So, anybody have to go to the hospital?
No, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, we had one. We were driving down the interstate, and it was like right at that first rain of the year where the roads are slippery. And I was going down 81 there near Strasburg, near where you live, and all of a sudden the brakes in front of me hit red. And my little bitty car had this little bitty Geo Metro, so a little teeny tiny hatchback, went sliding, hit the back of this old person car, so something like Buick or whatever, and we just spun. It was me, my brother, and Hag. We were spinning. I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die. There's like rain, there's tractor trailers rolling by us, and we stopped. I'm like, guys, you okay? Yeah, go check on the other couple, and they're like, yeah. Did you all see I said, are you guys okay? They're like, yeah, hey, did you see the wreck out in the field? I'm like, what wreck are you talking about? And apparently they had slowed down because they saw somebody had wrecked over the edge of the interstate. I didn't know a thing about it. The cop gave me, because I was a teenage kid, didn't believe that I'd never seen this wreck. Like to this day, I don't remember ever seeing the wreck. Because I just saw that and I was like, there was nothing I could do. And they had a little scratch on their license plate.
I don't know it was so much of you that you were a teenager. It's because you're the one that rear-ended them. I mean, that's pretty much the...
Yeah. No, I rear-ended, so I was at fault, but the cop really, legitimately told me he didn't. He's like, sure. It was one of those kind of like, yeah, you didn't see the wreck. You weren't doing that. I was like, yeah, no, I really... when you get someone in the behind, I tell my kids, my daughter's going to be, your daughter's driving, mine will be driving in, oh my goodness, 2 months, that you do it in the back. You hit someone back the car, no matter what's going on. It's your fault.
You're bad.
I mean, luckily they've all been nothing dangerous. It's just ruined some cars. No one's been hurt, thank God. So that's been sort of a blessing there. But as we get into today's discussion, we're going to get right into some of our predictions for the season. It's getting into August. We'll talk about our Fantasy Couriers rankings, closing out bold predictions. Then we'll be right into the season, which will come before we know it. But as you're getting ready, you're getting that itch. You want to do some drafting. Go to Fast Draft. Download a really cool app, Fast Draft. You can draft defensive players. You can draft teams during the season. There's in-season games. Use the code Couriers, and they'll match you up to $50. Fun little different site. A lot of us have done DraftKings, Underdog, FanDuel. Try something new. Check out Fast Draft. Download the app. It's a fun little thing. Hopefully you're as lucky as I have as you've gotten through with some of those. But today we're going to go down a different path. There's rollover. I didn't pull up the research to look how many years in a row people have been number one. I mean, you got those years where Kelsey was the number one tight end for years. Tight end's probably the easiest one, I would say. You've had like Josh Allen spin a couple, up and down, and guys might fluctuate in and out. You got McCaffrey, he's like 1 or 75, right? So you got guys jumping in and out of the number one spot. Today, what we're going to do is we are going to look at guys we think could possibly could possibly be the number one guy. And we're not going to take the guy who is number one or a lot of those like top 3 or 4 guys. We're going to look maybe not super deep. We're not going to say something ridiculous like we
I'm
think.
not going deep at all, just so you know.
I didn't go. I didn't go past like 12. So mine are still like standard in the one kind of range. But guys that could take that step, and usually it's not that like really super deep guy. Generally, I mean there are guys that tend to get there, that jump up to there, but not usually. So we're going to start with quarterback, and for some reason my thing is frozen to see. So 2025 was it still Josh Allen, right?
Yeah, it's been Josh Allen for like 3 years, 4 years. So.
He's our carryover of the quarterback. Who do you see that could take over that spot and be QB1 at the end of this year? I got to guess as to who yours is.
I think the easy answer is Drake May. But I mean, like he's number 2, so I don't think it'd be that much of a stretch. I wanted to try a little harder than that, so I was going down looking, and I got to Justin Herbert. We're all waiting for Justin Herbert to take that next step, but I was looking at his numbers, thinking like his sophomore season, he had 5,000 yards and 38 touchdowns, and he still didn't get number 1. So I mean, I think that's about Justin Herbert's limit. I mean, he's not going to do much better than that. So I Colin Herbert, I'm going to stick with Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is about my. I think he's the guy that's about as far as I can go. I'm thinking, you know what? I think he can run. If he could just score like a few more rushing touchdowns, I would think that would make the difference. But I think the offense is just. I think it's got another year of getting better before it reaches its peak. I think 4,500 yards is possible for this guy. I think 35 to 40 touchdowns is possible for this guy. I think if he could just get a few more rushing touchdowns, I think Caleb Williams is the guy.
So Caleb Williams, we all know, if anybody who listens to our show knows that JJ Wang is on the Caleb Williams.
For some reason, I don't know why.
I don't know why. I went from loathing Caleb Williams to
me too.
I'm in the passenger car. I'm riding along. I'm not off the train. I was like, send that train out west, whatever. I'm not dealing with it. But I think what we're going to see, the trend here is to be that number 1 quarterback. It takes a lot. When Tom Brady had that number 1 quarterback season, he had to knock for Justin Herbert. You mentioned Herbert. He was in my mind initially. He's got to throw for like 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, more or less, because he's not a running quarterback. You need to have legs and that touchdown potential for running.
And he doesn't have the receiving core for that.
But Tom Brady had Randy Moss that year, so I guess. But he still had put up top-notch seasons.
Yeah, Randy Moss.
Yeah, Randy Moss caught 20 touchdowns that year, but that was only 20. I think
only 20 touchdowns.
Didn't Tom Brady have like close to 50 or something crazy? Somebody caught the other 30 touchdowns.
Did you just say only 20 touchdowns from one guy, a receiver?
It was Randy Moss. So Randy Moss, that's a drop in the pan. Peak Randy Moss, you know. But it's looking at I'm trying to figure out, are we going too far on Caleb Williams? Do we have too much love? Is there a fear in your mind? Like, I'm with you. I got Caleb as 3. He's my number 3 right now. When consensus, he's about 7. Are we ignoring the Jaden Daniels, the Jalen Hurts, the Joe Burrows too much for a third-year quarterback who is his receiving core? We talk about receiving cores. His receiving cores are a second-year receiver who had a good month of football, a third-year receiver who had the first good month of football and fell off the planet, and a tight end that we all like and who's to the moon. Is there a level for you with
all that is valid? Not arguing any of that. It's fantasy football, and I play fantasy football more of a I like the guy type of, you know. But sure, Jaden Daniels, he's a very good option too. I mean, he had a very good rookie season, very, very I don't know what the word, efficient. I don't know if it can be that efficient,
No,
but yeah, he runs a lot. So yeah, he could also be number one. Joe Burrow, I just don't think Joe Burrow runs enough. He just doesn't get enough rushing yards. I think that hurts a lot. But between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, I like Caleb Williams better. I'm sorry. Sure, you can make an argument that Jaden Daniels could be the guy, absolutely, because he's going to run more. He doesn't need to throw for as many yards, but he is going to run more. And last year, kind of put like a bit of a sour taste in my mouth, even though he was injured, so that kind of works against him too. But I think Caleb Williams' offense is just going to be better. I think he has overall better weapons. I think it's just going to go Caleb Williams' way. I could be wrong, 100%. Sure.
no.
I'm flat on emotions here. That's just how I roll, man.
I mean, I'm rocking with the Bears this year, and I think really they could be top flight, or we're gonna all
I'm
be
sure.
screwed.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's a middle ground because
Sure.
we're relying on DeAndre Swift as the running back. I like Monangai. It's all guys that are. I mean,
But I think DeAndre Swift over the last couple of years has been pretty effective as like not like the lead guy, not like a workhorse guy, but like the lead guy in a 2-man backfield. Monangai has been pretty effective, so I think the running backs do their job. I think the tight ends are going to do their job. The question is, are the receivers going to do their job? I mean, that's the question with the Bears. I think everybody else is locked in. Defense might kind of suck, but whatever.
Hey, that's kind of what you want.
Yeah,
for your offensive weapons. You want some of those cruddy defenses to tear you out. So I'm going just a smidge deeper. Your Caleb Williams currently on Fantasy Pros, he is being drafted as quarterback 7. I went down all the way to quarterback 9. I'm rocking with the guy we thought was going to be the next Tom Brady plus, going to be the greatest quarterback in the world. People gave away all their dynasty draft capital. I remember our boy Scott was all about him. Like, he was trading away anything and everything so that he could draft Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, I love Scott. I love Trevor Lawrence. I
love Scott, Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence did nothing but be mediocre, even at best. He had his rookie year, quarterback 22. Yowzers. But that's because he threw 17 interceptions. Second year, he got up to quarterback 8. He 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Third year, quarterback 13. So he's sort of floating there at a fringe QB1, but that means he probably, and then 24 was just a poop of a year. He only played 10 games. Quarterback 27, 11 touchdowns, 7. Wasn't anything great. All of a sudden, we got this new quarterback last year. Trevor Lawrence finished last year quarterback 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, but 82 rushing attempts for 359 yards and 9 touchdowns. I mentioned that earlier. That's what takes you over the hump, is the rushing touchdowns.
Sure.
This year, I could see those touchdowns equivalent or going bigger, because for some reason we think that Bashan Tootin is as good as Trevor Acham. I don't. I got people at Scott Fishbowl that were trying to convince me that Bashan Tootin was the greatest thing in the world. And I'm like, I grew up in Virginia. Virginia Tech running backs don't play well in the pros. I've invested in them. I've had a couple of guys come over the years. I'm like, man, I want that guy to be good. Maybe I'll be wrong finally, but we're looking at Tootin, LaQuint Allen, was it Miller, the kid out of UVA, are the running back core for that team, meaning that Trevor's going to sling the rock. I'm starting to think my sleeper this year might close to be BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. coming back from the dead, although it could be just Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, and the tight ends get a little strange. But Trevor Lawrence has the possibility to be the guy we thought he could be. I mean, quarterback 4 to quarterback 1's not that big of a jump. If Josh Allen doesn't get as many of those touchdowns because he's getting older and they don't want him hurt, maybe. I haven't seen him pull back yet, but sometime they might, because they don't want him to get hurt, obliterated, blown up. He's still a big boy. That could be a guy that goes over. I mean, Lamar is probably the best answer, right? Unless it depends. We don't know. Where Lamar to me is a question mark because is he going to run? But I like Trevor Lawrence getting him up there. Maybe he gets double-digit touchdowns because nobody else is going to score a rushing touchdown on that team. He can throw for 4,500 yards. Man, he might be part of my bold predictions the more I talk about it. But maybe we get the Trevor Lawrence that we thought out of Clemson we were going to get in the pros, and he ends the year QB1 for fantasy.
Man, I'm a huge Trevor Lawrence fan. I've been waiting for his breakout year to happen. Every year, it's like, this is going to be it, and it just hasn't been. He goes through a lot of coaches. He makes really bad mistakes. It's not always the team's fault. I mean, a lot of times it's his fault. He just hasn't lived up to the hype. I thought he was a can't miss, but clearly I was wrong. But when you break, I don't break down numbers by any stretch of the means, right? But if you're looking at the overall numbers, right, 4,000 yards and almost 30 touchdowns, it looks great. Great rushing numbers, fantastic.
Yeah.
And nine touchdowns. I mean, that's what you want when you look for a guy who can finish number one. The 9 touchdowns. Can that be repeatable? Is repeatable a word? Yeah. Can that be? Sure. I mean, it can be. But like I said, touchdowns are kind of iffy. But again, this is the trap we fall in. This is the trap I fall in every year. Up until week 11, you're not happy with Trevor Lawrence. You're like, oh God, here we go again. Another Trevor Lawrence season where we think he's going to be good and he's not, because he was a middling quarterback. I mean, I don't even think he was a top 12 quarterback at that point. I mean, we have finishes of 28, 25. He did have a 5 finish. So kudos, but 21, 11, 12, 14, 13. So he was bordering, that. But then the last 6 games happened. I don't know what happened. We got a 7, a 5, a 13. Then the last 4 games, a 1, 2, 5, and 3 quarterback finishes. Looks fantastic. We're like, all right, Trevor Lawrence is a wrap. But are you falling for the half-year finish where he looks great for a half a year, and that's enough to carry you over into the next year? Think, oh yeah, he's finally taken that step. But you got to remember, he's been in the league for 5, 6 years, and he's had a really, really good half a year. Is that enough for you to think Trevor Lawrence has taken the step? That's the question you got to ask yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm following the Liam Cohen is a kingmaker.
Sure.
He's going to stay here. He made Baker good. Liam Cohen left. Baker not so good, along with a lot of injuries. Liam Cohen's got it, so maybe it was a half year figure him out. That I'm banking on that. Like, do I think he's going to be QB1? Probably not. Do I think there's a chance? So you're saying there's a chance. I'm going classic Dumb and Dumber. I really think it is Josh Allen unless Lamar Jackson gets amazing touchdowns, and I think the rushing's down him. So it'll be an intriguing little fight there. But let's jump into our running backs here. I'm going to pick a guy that sort of people who listen to the show would be like, "Really, Adam? You're talking about Ashton Genty? You don't even like Ashton Genty. He came out of Boise State. You're like, I don't want that guy early in the draft. What are you doing, Ashton Genty?" For all intents and purposes, where he fell last year was a disappointment. As a starting into the league, he was getting there. He was on a terrible team. Horrible, awful team. So bad they got the first pick in the draft. But the dude still had 266 attempts. They're giving him the ball. He got almost 1,000 yards. And on a bad team with a bad line, a bad everything, he still averaged 3.7, which isn't great. And he got 5 touchdowns. And if you're on a bad team, you're not going to score. But he had 73 targets, 55 receptions, and for 346 and 5 touchdowns. Those are numbers that if you get better, they signed they signed the center. I can't off the top of my head, I forget, but really they paid way too much for a center. And that's going to be a key. Yeah, the guy. That's a key. He's the anchor of the line, the leader of the line, and they're filling in parts. Kirk Cousins, he's going to have an experienced quarterback, not Geno Smith running the offense, who's running frantically. He's got Kirk Cousins, who's way past his prime, but Kirk Cousins is sort of in the middle there. I hope I think he play. I'm an old school. I think you're more of a new school, but I hope he plays and they let Mendoza sit around for it. But I think even when Mendoza comes in, they're still going to rely on this kid because they put the draft capital in him. He got all of these totes, and if he can up those numbers, up those touchdowns, I mean, 10 touchdowns, great. He can. That's total touchdowns. If he doubles that, boom. He was 13 last year. He's being ranked as running back.
Doubled it. Yeah, absolutely. If everybody just doubled their numbers, it'd be.
I mean, they can't be worse. You can't be worse. The Raiders can't be the worst team this year. I mean, they have the Dolphins, the Jets, they have the Cardinals. There are some terribly teams out there that could be competing with them for being the worst. Probably the Titans. I mean, the Browns. There's just some awful teams out there that they might make a little bit of a step because they're into year two going through this offense. So I'm hoping. But I could see a way that he moves up there because we're looking really the names you look at up there: Bijan, Gibbs, McCaffrey, possibly Taylor. He's one of the people argue people go up. I don't think he's in tier one like many people do, but Genty, if he takes that next step, which really means the Raiders are better because they gave him the ball, then he could easily be argued up there as running back one this year, get 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. Even if his receptions stay the same and he gets like 2 more touchdowns, 55 receptions is great for a running back.
Yeah, like the receiving work is there. The receiving work is ideal. I mean, if that could be like kind of the floor for Genty, I mean, that's what you can kind of expect. Fantastic. It's the rushing that needs. I mean, he averaged 3.8 yards a carry. That needs to increase. I know that has a lot to do with the line. Maybe I don't know, not a running back. Maybe his vision wasn't as good as they thought it was. I have no idea. Maybe so, but like I said, that needs to improve. That needs to be like 4.5 before he starts being considered as taking that, being that number one guy. And like I say, he needs more than 5 rushing touchdowns. He should be. I think he should be able to get like just double it. I mean, sure, 10 rushing touchdowns. It's not a lot. So I mean, if he's getting 10 rushing touchdowns and 5 receiving touchdowns, that would be fantastic. And, a lot more yards because he's going to get the work, clearly. I mean, that's not the issue. He's going to have the opportunity. Like this, the yards per carry has got to improve.
And, I mean, new coaching, Clint Kubiak's been known to.
Yeah, that's going to help. I mean, that should help.
Got rid of Pete Carroll, who's trying to bring something that wasn't there. Maybe he's passed it around. Pete Carroll was great, but just not for them. And the line, I think the line improvement. And right now, you know who Ashton Genty is rookie year? Breece Hall.
Sure.
He's literally Breece Hall. So if the Raiders stay where they are and suck, he's going to be Breece Hall, which will be running back, 8 to 12 every year. If they improve, that's where the opportunity comes.
Yes. So you went to – the running backs is really, really hard because I think there's like a 0% chance it's not like McCaffrey, it's not Bijan or even Jahmyr. I think there's pretty much like a 0% chance. Somebody like Genty is good. I mean, it's probably the next logical choice because I don't know who to pick. I just picked the guy that had a really good season last year, and that's James Cook, right?
I do it.
He had over 300 attempts, which is a lot for James Cook. I mean, 300 carries for 5'11", 190 pounds. I mean, fantastic. He looked really, really good for another season. I mean, last year he was running back 8. This year he was running back 6. So he had 300 carries, 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns. He only had 33 receptions. I think that hurts a little bit. I mean, if that was more like 50, then we're talking. But a running back season like that, and it only gets you to number 6. How many running backs are good enough to actually even get those numbers? I don't think there's any other running back behind James Cook that's going to be eligible or be able to get those. Now, maybe a Judkins, maybe
his catches will be low though, I think.
But I don't know if in the Browns offense that's going to be possible. So I mean, I can't go any. I mean, past James Cook. James Cook had a fantastic season, and he wasn't even close. So I mean, like I said, I don't think there's really any chance for any other guy.
Not even like It's that receptions. I think that's what you're never gonna. I mean, Derrick Henry, did he get it that one? You're like
I don't know
that
if he
one.
ever. I'm not sure
Did
if
he
he
ever?
ever
I was just
got
looking. Let me
it.
pull him back up here. I got him right here. Derrick Henry. Let's see.
No,
Historically, because you look at
no,
him, he's the closest. He never had a running back one season. He had a running
no.
back 2 seasons with 2,000 freaking yards and 17 touchdowns. If he got up, he had a running back 4 season with 33 receptions, 1,500 yards. So it really is that pass catching thing. And the top three guys have the pass catching. JT possibly. And so, I mean, Cook, it's amazing. Like we think of him as such a scat back when he really only has, the 30 receptions. Get him up to that genty 50 receptions, add a couple of touchdowns there. That's what hits him up into that next level. Or the Bills go, hey, let's stop trying to hurt our quarterback and let Cook. I mean, I said last year I didn't think Cook could repeat the touchdown success he had before. I'll be daggone. He only lost 4 touchdowns. That's pretty good, but he was more efficient. He had more yards. He had 600 more yards. He had better yard per attempt, 5.2 per attempt, and his yards per reception went up by 0.7. So he did not. All he's done every year has gotten better. So statistically, he went 44, 11, 8, 6. One's smaller than 6. So I mean, I could easily see him being right there. And I mean, he's 5, Genty's 6. Those two guys are almost my next tier of running back after the top 3 that could get up there. But give him a couple of those receptions. I mean, Christian McCaffrey healthy for a season. I think that's probably the answer, right? Like if he is healthy, no one can compete with Christian McCaffrey.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see. But we're gonna take a quick break here. I told before we get on with our show, I got to do my good deed for the day. My friend Susan gives me enough grief on Fantasy Turf War every week, so the least I can do is help her to fill some of her leagues, though. But seriously, here, like Susan's great. She's also known as the Gridiron Goddess. So if you checked out my other show, Fantasy Turf War, she was the co-host there, and we chat all the time. We're going to do a show sometime soon comparing our Scott Fish Bowl team, but here's what she has going on. Something awesome. And this is for all the women in our lives, all the women who are interested in fantasy football, want to learn about fantasy football. That is her passion. So if you're a woman who's been curious about fantasy football or already play and you want a great community, the Gridiron Goddess games are awesome. They're built for beginners and experienced players alike. It's only $15 to enter, and 20% of every entry goes to Galvanize, G-A-L capitalized, Vanize, to help empower women in sports media. So if you're listening, or you've got a wife, girlfriend, daughter, sister, coworker, or friend who happens to be female and loves fantasy football, head over to the link that's in our notes. You go to the Gridiron. If you can go to gridirongoddess.com, click on blog, it's in there, but I'll have a complete link in our notes. It's something really stinking long. And get signed up. And if you beat Susan this season, hit me up. I'll call you out on the podcast so we can talk a little smack. But we get to gloat that you were someone sent from the Fantasy Couriers to check out the Gridiron Goddess games. So check out the Gridiron Goddess games. She's doing it like a big giant tournament, like NCAA kind of tournament where everybody sort of meshes together. It's been one of her babies that she wants to grow. So check it out. And now back to the show. Segue within a segue. And JJ Wang even got a bathroom break. Look at that. That works out well.
I was actually making my food for the week. I just needed to check that.
Oh, meal prepping. That's what my daughter's telling me doing some of that today. So we're going to jump into receivers. We got receivers and tight ends. Who do you think? So number one receiver last year. Darn it, I'm on the wrong page. I had all this pulled up and then I closed everything up. Last year's number one receiver. So last year's number one running back by points actually was Bijan. He had 13 more points than Christian McCaffrey. I lost McCaffrey. Number one receiver last year was Puka. He had 720 than JSN, who had that miraculous season. It's funny. Puka still ended up being higher fantasy points, which is crazy. It was because of a rushing. Puka had a rushing touchdown. Their numbers were almost identical. Puka had 129 receptions, 1715 yards, 10 touchdowns, but 105 rushes for a touchdown. JSN had 1,793 yards, 109 receptions, 10 touchdowns as well, but only 36 rushing. So Puka was number one last year. We're looking at the top receivers here. Top receivers are Jamar, Puka, JSN, Amon-Ra. That's pretty much the level there. Amon-Ra, people will argue in and out of that thing. You've got me arguing him in, so we'll leave him there. So who do we see that could take over and be the wide receiver one?
I'm going to go AJ Brown. I know AJ Brown's so this is a little deeper than I forgot about this guy. So he's going to New England. He's clearly been an alpha receiver his whole career. He's always been like a target hog. And now and in Philadelphia. I mean, he was the number one target. The receiving game wasn't there. Their ceiling wasn't as high. So he goes to New England. Now he is 29, so he's getting older. But I think he's got one more year. He's not at 30 yet, so he's one more year before he hits the bad number 30, which might not be as bad. But he's going to an offense where Drake May just likes to sling it down the field. He's the clear number one. They got Romeo Dobbs as a number two. I mean, that's okay. But he's the clear number one. We've seen how he can throw it. So, I mean, that's not an issue. As long as A.J. Brown can stay happy, I think he can stay happy for at least 1 year. He's going to be the touchdown. He's going to be the touchdown guy. He's going to be the deep threat. So I think his touchdown numbers could rival what somebody like Devontae Adams does, but he's able to get more yards because he's like the number one target. So, I mean, I know it's crazy, but if he could get like 160 targets, I mean, he got 121 last year, but if he gets back up to like 160 targets, he's got to be competing for the number one spot.
I mean, that first year in Philadelphia, he was receiver 5. He was receiver 5, 1496 on 88 receptions and 11 touchdowns. That's been his peak so far. Will he get over that touchdown of like 11 to get to closer to 15? Will be. I mean, last year's leading receivers only had 10 touchdowns. So, but it depends upon, you got to balance out the distance. And my only concern with AJ Brown that I'm noticing, I love that call. He was one of the guys I was looking at when I was doing this thing here. Is the AFC East, their murderer's row of games this year. I mean, luckily he plays the Dolphins and Jets twice, but the rest, let's see if I have I have too many screens up for all these. Let's see, let's get to 26. The teams they got to play are like Seattle, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. Luckily, they got to stretch with Vegas, the Jets, the Bears, and the Dolphins. So midseason, boom. Green Bay's usually got a decent defense. They got the Chargers defense. You got to play Minnesota. He's got Denver in the Oh, that sucks. In the fantasy championship game, the Patriots have Denver. Now I'm sad for my Drake May draftings, but. You got that's my only worry. Like, I love him. I'm with you 100% on this guy being here. I think if AJ Brown can stop reading books and start playing football on the sideline, that team, they got an alpha. They were good last year. Do they make the next step? I think they regress in the NFL sense, but I think they'll be about where they were. They're not going to the Super Bowl, but their schedule is harder, but this will make them stronger. I think we talked about that maybe last week a little bit with them, but I like AJ Brown. I'd love to see him make that step finally. When he came into the league, I was like, this guy's overrated, and I fell in love with him maybe because I got him on some teams. The Eagles started, and he did the opposite of James Cook. He progressively with the Eagles went backwards, which kind of sucked. I mean, he went 5, 7, 18, then he got up to 14 last year, but his competition is Dobbs, and that could help him too to take away some of that pressure. And Hunter Henry might screw some of his touchdown stuff.
There's no competition.
Henry still gets us 7 touchdowns a year. It doesn't matter.
When you're bringing up AJ Brown and Dobbs and you say what are you competing for?
Some of if you have at least Dobbs is seen in the circles, he's a competent number 2.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a competent number 2.
Not taking over the ones, but a competent 2. You still got a guard, because if they triple team AJ Brown, all of a sudden Dobbs might get some of those numbers I was talking about in March.
Yeah, so I think maybe competent might be a better word than competing, because he's not really competing.
I didn't mean that's competing. I meant competent. Yeah, no, he's not competing with him. No, it's AJ Brown. Romeo Dobbs.
Okay,
like he's a compliment. Maybe I stuttered.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
A complimentary player that will help, I think, increase what he can do. So, so this was it wasn't. My next was my D. This was a little bit deeper. I still went with a wide receiver 1. It's a guy this is a total dart throw, and I've said it. I've been pounding the drums all off season for everybody's favorite criminal, Rashee Rice. He just got out of the jail, so he's ready to run free. They say after the minor knee scope, he's good to go. So it wasn't anything big. He's fully cleared for training camp. And all he does when he plays is he's a top receiver for his team. Last year he was coming back from just being knuckleheadedness. He's Patrick Mahomes' target hog. So he gets the targets 10, 9, 7, 9, 12, 12, 8, 11 last year. Couple down games last year, but every receiver hits them. If you look through their stats. So he had a wide receiver too, some eights, he had some duds. But if he can get a whole season, which is a big if, so this is why this one's probably my biggest dart throw. He could easily jump up and perform like he's supposed to. Rashee Rice is the only thing holding him from being mentioned in the names with these top guys is Patrick Mahomes tackling him on the sideline, tearing his knee, and him being a complete nincompoop. If he can stay in the practice facility, they don't suspend him. That's a big. We've heard nothing about that. I'm waiting for that. That's gonna be one of those, I think, surprises. Like, hey, it's August 31st. Hey, Rashee, you're suspended for a month because of the probation violation. That's one of my fears. There is what that would derail this 100%. But if he plays all season, Patrick Mahomes supposedly is 100% go for training camp. I think with the ACL, Mahomes is probably going to move less, meaning he's going to pass more and there'll be less rushing and moving around that, and that will benefit Rice and Kelsey as well going into the season. So Rashee Rice, he's peaked out. I gotta stop changing my screens while I'm talking. He's had the last couple. He's never eclipsed 1,000 yards, but that's because he's never played officially all. Like his rookie year, he played all the games, but he didn't get into the lineup full time until later. But he's only played 12 games the last 2 years. So I'm really throwing a dart here and praying that he could do it. But if anybody can, it would be Patrick Mahomes' guy, Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I mean, you pray for this guy a lot. I mean,
I do.
I feel like he is number one in your prayers, and I I just don't think there's a chance. He had an awesome rookie season, right? We were like, okay, again, what we fell for that second half of the season, fantastic finish. That hey, all right, boom, we got a half a season really really good. That's going to carry him through the rest of his career. And what has he done since then? He played 4 games the next season, 8 games the fall. So he's getting better. Yeah. So I mean, he's doubled his game. He's doubled his game output. Sure, he got injured for sure. I mean, but at some point by year 4, I've got to be able to see you get through a season before I can put you as the number one guy. And then 2023 was when the Chiefs were at peak Chief performance. The last few years hasn't been peak Chief. That's hard to say. Peak Chief performance. Mahomes hasn't looked the same. The Chiefs hasn't looked the same. Maybe they haven't looked the same because they don't have Rashee Rice in the game. Who knows? But yeah, I can't try to think that there is an actual pathway to him being the number one guy. I can't buy into this. I'm sorry. You can sell me with a lot of stuff. I'm not buying this. Like zero chance.
I think you might even buy in on my tight end a little more, and he's ranked number 15 than you will on my receiver.
Well, there's got to be. I'm not buying into this one at all. Like 0% chance.
Oh yeah,
but when he does play, he is effective. I will give you that.
I mean, you got JSN who went from 48 to 10 to 2, so you can come from lower down. I think receiver, if any position you can. I mean, I don't see anybody really past like that level, maybe, but some of these guys here, like people, you can jump a little higher quicker. It just takes that 1 year, and I mean, if anybody can do it with Sam Darnold, why not do it with Pat Mahomes? So,
well, I'm sure. Like, okay, I give you that. There's a chance, I guess. Sure.
Okay, we're going to close out with the greatest position in football, and I think everybody knows last year Trey McBride had a record-setting season for tight ends. That's how much did he beat everybody by? He scored 607 half PPR points, 1,239 yards, 11 touchdowns, 126 receptions. Kyle Pitts was in second place with 454. Like, that's how dominant Trey McBride was. And my love of tight end, people were talking, like, you got to think about if you're going to draft a tight end, like, Trey McBride's going second round. Trey McBride is not going to repeat this. I think we've mentioned that a little bit. Kyle Pitts' numbers came in, a third of his numbers came in one game. You got then, tight end 3 last year. No chance you can guess who tight end 3. This shows how deep we can go on this. Tight end 3 last year. Any guess who you think tight end 3 was?
Oh, I have no idea.
Jawan Johnson.
Okay.
77 receptions, 889 and 3 years. But to show that, like, if you draft a tight end in the first, I heard someone talk about this. If you draft, it was fantasy players, like draft a tight end in the first like 2-3 rounds, they need to have almost career years, or you're in extreme tight end premiums. That's why I did it in Scott Fish. But in general, you need high tight end premiums because, I mean, other than Trey McBride, half PPR, nobody eclipsed 400 points except for Kyle Pitts, and 14 out of 16 weeks, 17 weeks, you were pretty much disappointed because he was just sort of along the line, not doing anything incredible. So if you're giving that up, you're giving up in the third round. You can get a receiver. I mean, realistically, in the third round, you can pull probably like a T. Higgins, Ted McMillan, Garrett Wilson, that I would rather have them on my team than anybody not named Trey McBride, or probably Brock Bowers is the name most people will say, but he just got hurt and it was a dud year. The one year I drafted a stinking tight end, Brock Bowers let me down. So we're going to close out with guys who could take over that number 1 role, which really I think in your belief, that's going to be anybody from tight end 1 through 75.
No, there's like 2 people that can finish tight end 1.
Couldn't any of them be tight end 1?
No, absolutely not. Because there's only a select few that get the amount of targets you need to be tight end 1. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, you gotta get a lot of you gotta score a lot of a lot of touchdowns, and there's only a select few, man. Select few.
So my guy is he's one of my guys over the years. I've had him on some teams. One of my logos is actually this dude. He's had a tight end 4, 6, 1, 4, 5 finish. And he's been down a couple of years, but he's getting a new offensive system. Coordinators Declan Doyle is joining Jesse Mentor in the Baltimore Ravens offense. He got rid of Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kohler. So none of those surefire wastes of a touchdowns coming from Charlie Kohler. Isaiah Likely won't be touted to be so high, then all of a sudden just sort of be just a guy for him. And they're saying that a lot of this the Doyle system could run through Mark Andrews. They just gave him a 3-year, $39 million contract, meaning I think he's the receiver 1 for this team. Zay Flowers is a guy who I've underrated. Zay Flowers is probably my Aaron Jones of receivers, a guy I don't appreciate, but does enough. He doesn't get the touchdowns. Mark Andrews is the number 1, 2, and probably 3 read now in the end zone for Lamar Jackson. And he's currently tight end 15. So if you wait on tight end, you get Mark Andrews that low, and he has the possibility. I mean, no one's going to get the higher. I mean, realistically, most people think it's Brock Bowers. Mark Andrews, I do believe, could compete with Bowers up there for target share on their team because of lack of receiving challenges and touchdowns, because realistically it's Derrick Henry, him will score the touchdowns. Lamar will run for some. I think the Lamar rushing will be down, and Zay Flowers, let's give him a few more touchdowns. Why not? But that's still in a team that should be contending to be in the Super Bowl. He's the number 1 target. So that would make me give him an opportunity to be number 1 if his name's not Browers or McBride.
Sure. But
I like that usually we agree so much. I love that you hate my last 2 picks so much.
I mean, I think there's zero. It's just not going to get the amount of targets you need. Well, I don't think he's going to score enough touchdowns to make up for it. That's the problem that I have. So I went to last year and looked at the target for each tight end, and I think, barring injury, I think there's a 0% chance anybody not named Trey McBride finishes at number 1. So I know we've said this for like Laporta. So we've said this pretty much every year. But Trey McBride has a 1 finish and has a 2 finish and then a 1 finish. So I think what we're seeing in Trey McBride is that he's actually like the real deal. Because Laporta only did it for a year. Bowers only did it for a year. All these, and then it was Kelsey did it like every year. Mark Andrews was doing it for every year. George Kittle does it for every year. And I think Trey McBride is like the next receiver that does it every. Dude, he had 169 targets.
Yeah.
And the next closest one was 118. You want to know who that was?
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. So say what you want about Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts was getting the targets. So which is what you need to be able to finish at that rate. So I would and then Tyler Warren had 112, which was really, really good. Kelsey still had 108. And then to my surprise, Harold Fannin had 107. So, I mean, that was impressive too. And like I said, Juwan Johnson had 102 targets. So Bowers had 86, so he was injured. So I think he can definitely be up there in there with those high target volume guys. So you've got to try to find a guy who you think is going to get a lot of targets. Like I said, I don't even have an answer for this because I don't even.
It might be Tyler Warren. He might be a guy.
It could be. I mean, Tyler Warren could be a chance. I'm not buying into the Colts at all. I don't trust Daniel Jones 0%. Harold Fannon's interesting, but like that offense is weird. I mean, he's clearly probably the number one target, but he was so like boomer bust last year that I think the consistency needs to become a little better. But I think Harold Fannin could,
KC worries me a little bit. Casey Concepcion worries me a little bit with Fannin.
Worry. I mean, it always this is going to be hard to repeat, but I think the touchdown numbers could probably even increase a little bit for Harold Fannin. But yeah, just looking at Trey McBride, I think there's absolutely zero chance. Because I mean, the year before that, he had 147 targets, and then it was 169 targets. I don't see it getting below that.
I think there's a regression in targets. Like I don't think I said that's what I said. Bowers
to 150.
maybe I don't know because last year their running game was non-existent.
True.
So the rock was slung. They had to he was at a pace his historic. This is a historic season. I think I heard was the number 5 all-time tight end season is what he had last year. This year they have 2 running backs. I mean they got Algier, who's I think is a bit less than. I go up and down on what I think. I mean, they Love was there and they took best player available in the draft, as I believe is a great idea if you're that high in the draft. But I don't think he should have been that high picked on a running back. But they're going to give him the ball. They put up the investment. They paid money into Algier. I think they're going to run a little more. And Brissett slung the ball. Well, currently Brissett's fighting with the team. Is Carson Beck, week 1 starting quarterback, is Carson Beck going to throw the ball that much? Or are they going to give it to the running backs? That's my only fear. Like McBride, I love McBride. I'm with you on if you said we had to put money on a guy, I would be torn between McBride and Bowers, probably as far as money. If I wanted to gamble, it would be Warren or probably my boy Andrews. But yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's going to be interesting to see the target, where they fall with targets. I mean, this is the year I think we find out if Marvin Harrison Jr. is the ultimate flop. Is he going he was injured throughout the season with that? Michael Wilson was up there, played like I thought he would play. But if they level up a bit, will it help or hurt McBride and go through? So it's going to be an interesting year for a team that's, I mean, they might get the catches because they're going to be terrible. Their defense is a heaping pile of garbage. So improved running game is my only fear with it within that one. But the defense being terrible could boom them up there. So those are our guys. JJ Wang said nobody. He said there's not a chance, a slim chance, 0 chance that it would get if you had $100 wagered on Trey McBride as we go in. So those are our guys. We had for quarterback guys we predict that could be our Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, running back James Cook, Ashton Genty, receiver A.J. Brown, Rashee Rice, tight end Mark Andrews, and nobody but Trey McBride, the man, the myth, the legend. As we head out of here, JJ Wang, give us some wisdom, and we'll see you all next month.
So we did an auction draft last week. It went okay. I mean, I got Jeremiah Love to spend a lot of money, but my problem with it was nobody spends enough money in the beginning of the draft. It makes the end of the draft miserable because everybody that should be like $5 or $10 is going for like 50 or 60 because there's a couple of guys that have like $300 left over to it. You do whatever you want with your money. I don't care. It's fine. You spend it how you want. It doesn't really matter to me. But there were some of the bigger name guys were going for a little cheaper, than what they should. But I think I learned like this year, like I've always been that kind of guy to like kind of like save it, for the end. But I I kind of like getting the guy that you want,
Hmm.
and then maybe another guy, not trying to fill out 12 people on a roster, because then it makes the free agent pickups even worse, because now all these guys are already on teams. Um,
Dude, I got
but
killed.
it went fine. But like I said, you just couldn't get any of the kind of the sleeper guys. They were all going to like kind of the same person. But it was still an okay draft. But I just think that was my pet peeve. You have any thoughts?
I was watching those guys that went way too low. And I had bid on a guy, so I couldn't bid on them because my money wasn't
Yeah.
as high. I'm like, somebody bid them up, and I was going to bid them up, but I couldn't. And then it gets to 2 minutes left in my draft. Somebody snakes me. I'm like, I could have bid these guys up. You Maroons, why are you bidding on my guy? I forget who it was before. I mean, I was bidding on Chris, what's his name for the Dolphins, but somebody the first night, and they let Concepcion and Tyson go for cheap while they crushed me. I'm like, come on, guys,
Yes.
bid up these dudes.
Yeah, I couldn't spend any of my money
Yeah, you were
until
stuck.
I
But a lot of you had
figured,
money.
yeah, to figure out what I
I
was
was
going
like,
to do with
yeah.
Jeremiah Love, because I was willing to spend $596 on Jeremiah Love. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew that, because we had a
Somebody
mishap
screwed
in
the
the
draft.
beginning of the draft. But I was willing to
Nobody
spend.
noticed it. I think some guys didn't notice it because they
There
were
was,
playing.
yeah, one person noticed. So I was willing to spend all my money. So I really couldn't bid anybody up, because I couldn't get it tied up in somebody else, because I really wanted Jeremiah Love. So after that, I only had like 150 bucks. There's a couple of guys I wanted, but I couldn't get them because there were still so many guys with so much money. It was just really, that was like the downfall of it. But I got Jeremiah Love. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.